This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everybody, good morning. Today, let's continue the arithmetic service which we started in the previous session. So our requirement is to design two operations in a web service, right? I mean something like a class contains two methods. Similarly, in a web service, we can design operations. Okay, one web service can have multiple operations. So as per the requirement, we need two operations here: addition operation and subtraction operation. Okay, so for that, I shown you the approach how to design the service. So we'll continue and concentrate on the business logic configuration inside the people process. So inside the people process, instead of receive activity, I suggest to use pick activity. If you want to configure multiple operations in a Beeple web service, it is not possible to work with receive activity. We cannot use one receive activity. We must go for pick activity where pick activity contains a branch called on message branch. You can configure multiple on message branches in one pick activity. Each on message branch behaves as a receive activity. Okay, and each on message branch is an individual flow. Okay, each on message branch is an individual flow. So each on message branch you can utilize to design the business logic of each operation. So now our requirement is two operations. So I have two on message branches. I will use first on message branch for addition, second on message branch for subtraction, or vice versa. It's your choice. It's not really matter which is placed first and which is placed second. The position is not at all important. Both works individually. Okay. Just for recap kind of thing, I just want to open the WSDL once again. If you see the WSDL, we have two physical port types. Okay, if you see the addition operation, physically there are two operations we configured for addition. One is to accept the input, second one is to respond. I mean, second one is a addition callback operation. Okay, so for addition we have two physical operations, but logically we are going to construct one operation. It's an asynchronous model, asynchronous callback model. Okay, suppose if you check this subtraction operation, it's a synchronous model. Synchronous model, we have input and output together in one operation. But in asynchronous model, input is in one operation. There is no concept called output. This is also called as input. Okay, so that means as per the diagram discussion, I shown you the differences between synchronous, asynchronous callback web services, right? So at that time we discussed client is responsible to send the input, web service is responsible to send a response back to client. This model is synchronous web service model. Whenever it is asynchronous callback model, in that model, client has to take care how to send the input, client has to take care how to get the output. Okay, here in our example, we took addition as an asynchronous template. So that's what it has two physical operations and logically it is only one operation. But for subtraction, we have only one physical operation, only one logical operation. And here input and output we configured. Okay, the basic WSDL structure. I mean, so my current web service is a combination of templates. One operation is a synchronous model, one operation is synchronous model. Okay, both I put it in the same service, same web service. Yeah, it is allowed, not an issue, it is allowed. Okay, now let me configure each operation, guys. Okay, so I will delete, I will configure one by one. I will delete one on message for now. Okay, done. Let me complete the first on message branch, then I go to the second on message branch. Tell me guys, which operation you want me to configure first? Say addition or subtraction? Which one you are expecting?
Addition, sir.
You want me to do addition first? Yes, we can do. I mean, both are independent, I said, right? Anything can be the first one. So I will do the addition as you wish. Okay. So fine. So first what we need to do is make sure, double click on the pick activity. This is the pick activity. Just double click on it and select the create instance checkbox. Okay. Now go to on message branch. This is the on message branch. Simply double click, and here you can give some name, guys. So what I will say, this is addition on message. Okay, just name is display name. That's it, label. Okay, but this guy in the top, you see edit on message. Here on message is there, right? This is the name of the activity, and this is just the display name. Okay, and we need to select the interaction type. As of now, we are working only partner link model. We have to discuss about event model. We'll see later. Okay, so in the partner link, browse the partner link. This is our partner link, right? This is our partner link, arithmetic beeple underscore client. Arithmetic beeple underscore. My mouse cursor is visible for you if I'm not wrong.
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay, right. So arithmetic beeple client is my partner link. Browse it. Just browse it. Say okay. Done. Observe here the port type, arithmetic beeple. Arithmetic beeple. Okay. And then operation. Operation. Which operation, sir, we need to select? Addition. We need to select proper operation. Don't select the wrong one. Okay. And then I want to create a variable. I will name it as addition add in input variable. Addition input variable. Okay. I'm just giving my own naming convention. Ultimately, the intention here is it's an input variable. It's an input variable. Whatever input data received will be stored into this variable. Okay. Done. Apply. Okay. So I just configured an input variable. You can see that variable here. Edit and see what is the message. Okay, see here, this is what kind of variable? It's a message type variable, and this is the arithmetic request message. Arithmetic request message. So this is what the operation we used. In the operation, if you see, this is the addition operation. This is the addition operation. Within the addition operation, what is the input message we used? Arithmetic request message. With this message, a variable configured. With the same message, variable configured. Okay. Then in this data type decided based on the input output parameter configuration within your operation. Within your operation, this is the message. So based on this message type, your variable got configured. Okay. Now, okay. So in the on message on the on message branch, we configured the label, we browse the partner link, we browse port type, we browse operation, and we browse, sorry, not browse, we created an input variable. Then, okay. So this is an asynchronous process. We don't have a reply activity. As it is an asynchronous process, we don't have a reply activity. Instead of reply activity, we are going to use invoke activity instead of reply. Okay, just create the binding with the partner link to whom we need to reply the response. To whom we need to reply the response. Okay, just create the binding. Simply drag the line, or you can do double click on this invoke activity, and here you can browse the partner link as well. Anything is fine. Either simply create the binding, leave it. Pop-up will come. See, port type is there, partner link is there, operation is there. Okay. Otherwise, simply double click on the invoke. You need to select the partner link, and then you need to select the port type. Check this time it is a callback port type, and this is addition response operation. Okay. And the parameter is input, right? Within the operation, the parameter is input. So here the input tab is enabled, not the output tab. Okay, because the parameter inside the operation is input parameter, there is no output parameter in visible operation. Okay, anyway, but when you are creating the variable, create it with meaningful keyword naming convention, even though it is input parameter. To avoid the confusion, what we need to do is we need to create proper naming convention. What I will say, add output variable. Okay, done. So here you can give some naming convention. I will say add callback. Instead of invoke, I said add callback. Done. Apply and OK. You can see this on message is behaving as a receive activity. This is a callback activity. Any questions as of now? On message, add callback. I'm just following the naming convention. There is not a big reason behind this naming convention. Okay. Any questions till now? Receive is ready. Receive is ready in the form of on message. Callback is ready in the form of reply activity. Okay. Now we just need to configure the business logic. We thought of doing addition, right? So how we can process the data by using assign activity? Simply drag drop an assign activity. Open this assign activity. See the input variable. In the input variable, we have input 1 and input 2. We need to perform addition of these two numbers, and the result I want to store in the output variable, addition output variable, which is nothing but a result field. If you want to do an expression, what you do, you need to use this fx symbol, expression builder. Just click on it. An expression builder pop-up will come. Here you can perform the addition of two numbers. Okay, input 1, click on this button. So you got the expression, plus input 2. So guys, you can double click on it to get the expression. Otherwise, you can use this button to get the expression. I will use the double click. I simply do the double click. See, you got the input 2. This is input 1. Okay. Now say okay. Our expression is ready. The result of the expression I want to store into result element in output variable. Done. You can see the expression here, the from expression, input 1 plus input 2, and the addition result will be stored into result field. Apply. Okay. Done. We are ready with one small business logic to perform addition of two numbers. Even for the assign activity, you can give a proper naming convention. I will say add, assign, add, some naming convention. That's it. Okay. Done. Now what I can do, it's a simple logic, right? We are not looking into a complex logic. Rather than a complex logic, our intention is about how to design the service. Okay. So once you know how to design the service, logic can be anything. You can design any logic. Just let me deploy and test this program up to this point. It's always suggestible, guys. So when you are working on a requirement, you make sure logically divide the requirement into subparts, and when you are reaching that logical part, you need to deploy and test your service. Okay, whether the service is working up to this part or not, we need to test and confirm. Okay, once the program is working as expected, then we can go to the next part of the program. So it's always suggestible to divide your requirement into parts and work on it. It's not suggestible to design the entire service in the single step and go for a testing. That's not an advisable way. Okay. Anyway, so code deployed or not? Build in progress. Okay, build successful in 14 seconds. Deployment successful in 23 seconds. Let's go to Enterprise Manager. Let's go to Enterprise Manager. Just refresh the screen. I already logged in into my Enterprise Manager for the benefit of time. I'm just refreshing the screen. This is the refresh icon. Okay, now you can see the second project. Open. Just click on the hyperlink. It will open the project and we will get the test screen. Just simply launch the test console. Okay, and then here let me go instance. Okay, so here you can see See, this is the web service endpoint. Sorry, this is the web service concrete WSDL, and you can see the operation. You can see the operation here. We have addition and subtraction, two operations. As of now, we designed the business logic for addition. We did not implemented any business logic for subtraction. So don't, at this point of time, you cannot test subtraction, just to test addition operation. Okay. Once you select addition operation, come down and prepare your payload. I will say 11 and 22. Just I'm providing two input integers. You can also see this in XML view. You can also check this in XML view. Now, if you see, let me click the submit button. Let me click the submit button. Before going to submit button, let's check this. There is something called XML view. If you check this, you can see the input in XML format. Which is a valid XML. Request schema is the complex element. Input 1, input 2. This is a valid XML with respect to XSD. Okay, you can submit the request. So it's your choice. You want to submit the request in XML view or tree view. Anything is fine. Okay, just click on the test web service. And now you can see the result. See what happened. Test status, request successfully received. See, there is no response. This enterprise manager did not receive any response. Okay, but you can launch the instance and see what happened. See this button, launch flow trace. If you click on it, you can see what happened. See, this is the service component. From here, control went to BPEL component. Within the BPEL, we have a receive activity. Instead of receive activity, I mean on message. We don't have receive activity, right? On message. Open this on message. You can see the data. What is the input received? Okay, and then you can see the assign activity. So assign activity said updated the variable, add output variable. Okay, so output variable updated with the result. Okay, and you can see the callback activity. In the callback activity, it is showing the output. But that was not received to enterprise manager test console. Enterprise manager test console did not receive this output. Output generated, but it is not received by test console, because I told you, right, asynchronous callback service, client should have the capabilities to send the input. Client should have the capability get the response. Okay, so this enterprise manager test console is the client in our current case. Correct? Enterprise manager test console is sending the input to program. It should do something to get the response. But as of now, our test console is not doing anything to get the response back from the service. So output generated, but it is not displayed on the test console. You see here, output did not came here. Okay, but you can see the instances. Instances generated, every instance generation process will still remain same. Okay, if I test the program again, another instance will be created, but the output will not come back to test console. See here, request submitted successfully without any errors, but output is not coming back to your enterprise manager test console. So in our current case, enterprise manager test console is the client of our program. Okay, right. Any questions till this point? Any questions from anyone? Shall I go to the next step? Okay, let me, yeah, so addition operation is ready. What is the next operation we need to concentrate? Subtraction operation, correct? Let's go to your BPEL process. Okay, and now I want to create the second operation. I want to create the business logic for second operation. This time I'm expecting synchronous operation. Subtraction is a synchronous operation. Okay, let's create one new on message branch. If you click this icon, you are able to create a new on message branch. Now we got the new on message branch. So double click on it. What we want to do, let's give a naming convention. We want to give it as subtraction underscore on message. This is just a display name and user defined. There is no fixed naming convention here. It's just a display name. And then browse the partner link. We have only one partner link, so there is no confusion at all. And you need to select the port type, arithmetic people, and instead of addition operation, you need to select subtraction operation. Okay, you need to create the variable. To create the variable, you need to click on the plus icon. So this is the plus icon, you just need to click. So what we need to do, subtraction input variable. Subtraction input variable. Then apply and OK. Our on message branch is configured in the place of receive activity. Okay, and then what is the last activity in a synchronous flow? That must be reply activity. Just drag drop the reply activity. Okay, and create the binding with the partner link. I shown you two different ways, right? Two different ways we can configure the binding. One is simply drag the binding, and in that case port type operation are preloaded. You need to make sure properly you are doing it or not. Port type is good, but operation is not good. I need to go to subtraction operation, and here I will create subtraction output variable. Subtraction output variable. Okay, replay subtraction, some naming convention, that's it. Done. Our replay activity configuration completed. Now what I want to do, I want to configure the business logic by using assign activity. So in this assign activity, if you observe this, guys, all four variables are visible here. But if you want to deal with subtraction operation, you need to handle only subtraction variables. Don't touch addition variables. All variables are accessible because they are global variables. We define the variables in the global scope. If you go to variables summary page, this is variables summary page, you can see all variables here. That means your variables are global variables and they are accessible. They are accessible in the global scope. It's not mean that you need to use it. Variable is visible. That's not mean that you are going to use it in the assign action. Okay, so don't touch the variables which you don't want. Okay, I just need subtraction variables. So what I need, I will get the data from subtraction input and I will store the result into subtraction output. Okay, so now go to an expression. So what we need to do, subtraction input 1 minus subtraction input 2. So our expression is ready. Copy the result of this expression into the result field, which is in subtraction output. Done. So expression is ready. So we have one more field as well in the response, operation name. For this, I want to hard code the value. So what I will do, go to expression builder, and here the hard coded value, my current operation name is subtraction. I just hard coded the keyword. Okay, this keyword, the result of this keyword or the expression, I want to store in operation name. Okay, see, now we have two expressions in the assign activity. First expression is performing subtraction. Second expression is we are assigning a static string to the operation name, which is in subtraction variable. Same thing we can do in the addition as well. If you go to addition assign, here we mapped the result, but we forgot to map the operation name. Let's do this. Go to expression builder. This time the operation name is addition, right? So assign this expression builder mapping to operation name field, which is in addition output variable. This is an addition output variable. Okay, done. That's it. We are ready with our program with two operations. Let's deploy the program. And we can test this program. Finish. Okay, so once the deployment, you can give proper naming conventions, guys. Every time, I always suggest to have proper naming conventions. So don't leave the default naming conventions. Don't leave the default naming conventions. So let's go to this, assign sub. Okay, I don't know how I provided this, assign add, right? Fine, so the same pattern I followed. This is assign add, this is assign sub. Okay, so now let me redeploy the program. I changed the naming convention, so it's a change in the program. So to reflect the change in the server, you need to redeploy the program. There is no other alternative. If you have a change in the program, you have to redeploy the program. Oh my God. Let me go to log tab. Okay. So in the log tab, we can see the deployment status. How is it going on? If any errors, it will show you in the deployment tab and SOA tab. Okay, build successful, deployment successful. Now go to your enterprise manager, just simply refresh the screen. Refresh the screen, okay? Done. Now you can test either addition operation or subtraction operation. Now both are ready. Both the logics are configured. Now I want to test subtraction operation. Go to request tab and you can provide some data. I will say 100 and this is 10. Submit the request. Subtraction is a synchronous operation. It is a synchronous operation. So we are expecting response. Oh, whatever. Invalid input arguments. Why? 10, 5. Okay. Yeah, I am able to submit the request and you can see the operation name is subtraction. Result is 5. 10 and 5 I supplied as input, so the result is 5. It is a synchronous operation, so we got the response. Suppose if you test addition operation, you don't receive the response. If you go to addition operation, go to the request tab, you can submit some input. You can submit some input. You don't receive the response back. Okay, you can go to instances. You can go to instances. See here, all the instances are visible. The latest test is an asynchronous testing, addition testing, right? If you open the latest instance, you can see the output generated, but it is not coming back to your enterprise manager test screen. See, this is the addition output, addition and 34. Okay, we can also verify subtraction operation, which we tested in the instance ID 30003, arithmetic people process. See, everything is related to subtraction here. Okay, you can open each activity and observe what happened. Right? Any questions as of now? Any questions? So the same web service I want to test from SOAP UI as well. Okay, so if you want to test this from SOAP UI, what you need to do, first you need to capture concrete WSDL. This is my concrete WSDL. Copy this, and then go to SOAP UI. In the SOAP UI, you can click on new SOAP project, give your WSDL, okay, and then you can give some project name. What name is good? I will give the same naming convention, something like arithmetic client. Okay, arithmetic client. I will change the host name to localhost. This is because this is my local server. If your server is not local server, you can use appropriate host name. Okay, done. See here, a SOAP UI project got created. You need to save this. It is mandatory step to perform a save button when you are creating the project. Okay, let me save it somewhere on my desktop. Okay, SOAP UI projects. I'm maintaining one folder for all my projects. I will save it here. Okay, now you can see this, guys. We have two port types. And addition operation is an asynchronous operation. Subtraction operation is a synchronous operation. So let me test the addition operation. Okay, so you give the input 10 and 20. Okay, before submit the request, check what is the latest instance we have. Latest instance is 30004. Okay, come back to SOAP UI, submit your request. Guys, this is an asynchronous operation and the client is SOAP UI. This time we are testing an asynchronous operation. Client application is SOAP UI. As it is an asynchronous operation, we did not receive the output, but you can go and check the latest instance. See, we got a new instance created, 30005. You can open and see the output generated or not. See, output generated, but it did not came back to SOAP UI. So because it's an asynchronous callback service, SOAP UI as a client, it can be SOAP UI or Enterprise Manager Test Console. Client has to do something to get the response back. What is that something? We'll see. Wait for a few more sessions. Okay. You can also test the subtraction operation. Go to subtraction. Okay. You can give some input here. You can submit the request. If you submit the request, you can see the response here in the XML tab. If you go to XML tab, you can see the response schema. Okay, you got the response because it is synchronous flow, right? Okay, let me stop the recording at this point.